And if we're thinking about sort of marketeers who are currently working for small businesses then, sort of facing some of the challenges that you've perhaps just talked about there or you've had previously then, what sort of advice would you give them, reflecting back on your experiences? What would you perhaps have done differently, or what did you perhaps do that kind of worked really well to ensure that you're kind of making a difference?
Yeah, I think before joining a small business, make sure you're asking all the right questions, right? Particularly if it's a startup, make sure that it's well funded, make sure that there's, the right people in place. But also, if it's a really small business, you could well be the first or the only marketeer there. What are your support structures to help you through things? It can be quite a lonely place being the only marketer in a business, or the most senior marketer in a business anyway. People are looking to you for direction and marketing ideas and answers, when, as we all know, there's no black and white yes and no in marketing. It's all very much shades of grey, and nothing's right, nothing's wrong. But I think so it can be a lonely place. You need those, that internal, that external kind of support network to help you with that. I think when on joining a new business, any new business actually, but particularly in smaller ones, take a moment to sit back, reflect, and think, what's going on here? Understand the personalities, understand the people, and probably, I've suffered from this previously. I've gone straight into actually just need to generate loads of demand, just need to get loads of leads. The reality is that isn't what we need to do. We really need to nail down what's our proposition, what's our value prop in this market, where are we actually trying to go? Because I think you can just chase after everything when you're a small business, and you're in that kind of pivoting, trying to find your place. So I think establish where you need to focus, establish where that kind of product market fit is, and then worry about going out and doing the marketing. I'm not saying take months. That's over a series of weeks, really, Matt.
Yeah. And would you kind of do that at interview stage then? Because, you do tend to find that the kind of onus in an interview tends to be on the candidate rather than the candidate being able to ask too many questions of the company. But you make a really good point there about expectations ultimately. Is the CEO and the founder team expecting you as the sort of first marketeer to come in and suddenly have this, pipeline after 2 months? Versus kind of really what you should be doing, which you're absolutely spot on there, is kind of sitting back and almost analysing what's taken place so far. What market are we operating in? Who are we operating against? So then you can really start to build the fundamentals then. Is that something you'd recommend maybe marketeers quizzing directly then companies about this kind of stuff, the expectations and their thoughts around what they expect out of the first 90 days?
Matt, I think you've got to, right? I know it's difficult in that sort of interview stage, but if both sides need to be sure that they're going into the right relationship, right? For the business, they want to make sure they've got somebody who's savvy, able to do the job they're asking to do. And I think as a business owner, as a CEO, I would respect people who are asking those right questions. I want to make sure, I want in any instance when I'm interviewing somebody, I want them to know that this is the right role for them, and vice versa, right? I think the classic interview process is very much geared or seen as, would-be candidate has to prove their worth to a business. It's absolutely not that. I think it's just as nerve-wracking being on the recruiter side, trying to find the right person. The risk on you is huge, but if you bring in the wrong people. So I think, a candidate, we should appreciate that and really think we have some power in this as well as the person who's doing the recruiting, right? Ask those right questions, ask those hard questions. I think it will position people better in many respects. If somebody comes in and asks me loads of questions about the role and what they'll be doing, I find that reassuring than somebody who just comes and answers my questions and then at the end says, thanks very much, and walks away,